Hello, I'm Deb Morgan and I'm from Not a Rehearsal, and I have been given the honour and the privilege to interview some of the authors from this amazing book, Revival, Women Embracing Their Superpowers. And I'm joined today by the incredible Andrea Onadeko of Flourish in Love. Is that right, Andrea? Is that the right business
Yes,
name? Yes, Flourish in Love.
absolutely right. Yes.
Fantastic. Andrea is a relationships coach and she has a story to tell about how she started in business. And like many of us, it wasn't a straightforward progression. She didn't just wake up one morning and think, I'm going to be a relationships coach. So, Andrea, would you like to tell me a little bit about what started you on that journey?
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you so much for having me
Welcome.
on this interview. What happened was a couple of years ago, about it's about 6 or 7 years ago now. I decided to take time away from my day job because my son was starting primary school, and I decided I wanted to be there to drop him off, and I wanted to be there to pick him up at in the afternoon. So my contract, I was consulting for a local government authority at the time. So I decided I would take a break from that contract and I wasn't going to look for a new contract. So I stayed at home and I did stay for a year to take him to school and bring him back. And I think I wanted to see what it was like to be a stay-at-home mom. And then I realized very quickly that it wasn't for me because because up until that point I had always worked. So it was something I just wanted to be there for my son. I didn't want to hand over to anybody to do the school run for me. So I stayed for a year at home, to settle him into to the reception class. And it was fun, but I soon realized that I wasn't enjoying it. So I decided I had to do something for myself. So prior to that, I had worked in information technology for maybe 15 years, in various capacity. I had worked in public sector, I had worked in the private sector. So I wasn't keen to go back to a 9 to 5 job in that sense, because I just didn't think it was going to work. It was going to fit around my new life of trying to be there at 3 o'clock and drop him off before 9 o'clock. So I started thinking, and I also started praying because I am a Christian. So I started praying. I'm like, okay, there must be something that I can do that I enjoy to do apart from going to a 9 to 5 job. So, and in that process of being there and just thinking and just, praying, and I realized that my journey of of learning how to love myself and learning to be confident and overcoming the root of rejection has actually helped me to be the person that I was at the time. And then it just occurred to me that I can teach. I'm sure there are people that I can teach the same thing to. So I started out just with that in mind, that, okay, let me share my thoughts with other women who might find themselves in a place where they don't feel enough, or they don't feel that they're worthy of, a beautiful relationship. So I started out my Facebook page. At the time, it was called Loving Yourself More. And I just started sharing my thoughts there, and that was how it started. So at that point, it was not a business. It was just something that I enjoyed to do, something that you didn't have to pay me to do it. I could talk to you from now till tomorrow on how to be enough, on how to just accept yourself, on how not to care about what other people think about you, and just be your true self. So that was how it started.
Fantastic. That's really interesting. Now, I read your story, obviously, and one thing that really struck me and actually gave me some hope as well, and I'm sure will give a lot of other women business owners some hope. I picked up that you're an IT professional, yet you said you really struggled in the online space.
I
And
did.
for me, that's kind of a myth buster because I don't know about other people, but I certainly make the assumption that if somebody's an IT professional, they know exactly what they're doing in the online space. And, you know, I sit there and think, well, I'm the one that's struggling. I don't know what I'm doing because I'm not an IT professional. So tell me a bit more about how you struggled with that, because I know so many business owners struggle with that online space, just as you did.
Yeah, thank you so much, Deb. That's interesting because yeah, I am an IT person. I'm still an IT person, and I love everything about information technology. I have a degree in information technology, for crying out loud. That is embarrassing sometimes, but hey, it is what it is. I love technology, and I think I just like anything gadgety and anything techie. I just, I'm a hands-on person. But you know what? When I started on Facebook being Facebook in I think it was 2010 that I joined Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, it was just nice to be on there and look at the pictures. That was basically what I was there for. I would see friends from way back. I would see people, I would connect with old friends. For me, it was exciting. And also because my personality likes to connect with people. I enjoy being I enjoy connection. I like people to be around me, and I like to be around people. So Facebook is almost like my own being around people in the virtual sense of it. But when it came to now running a business on it, it was a difficult transition for me because I came out there to play. When I came onto Facebook, I just came onto Facebook because, oh, this is a platform where you can connect and meet with people and new people, old people, whatever. So it was a difficult transition for me to move from the mind of, okay, I want to start building a business on here. I want to build a following on here. So that was the first issue. I didn't know how to. I didn't know what.
Yes.
So when I started the page, it was just a page. So when I feel like it, I just come on there and I put a little post about confidence. I put a little post about, boundaries. I put it anything that just came on that was just in my heart, I would share. Sometimes I'll put pictures on it, and that was it. So when I now started to think more, what happened was about a year into the page, somebody approached me on Facebook and said, "Oh, I really like what you do." And in my mind, I'm like, "What do I do? I don't even know what I'm doing here." So that was quite interesting because she was like, "Oh, I really like what you do." So I'm like, "Okay, wait a minute. Where is she? What is she going on?" And that was my first introduction to doing business on Facebook. So the
Wow.
woman, the lady came on to me and said, "I really like what you do, and I like to get to know you." And I thought, "Oh, this is interesting. Okay." So we exchanged emails, and I told her what this was about, and then she invited me to come and speak. She was a business coach, and she invited me to come and speak to a group of women that she works with. So she holds networking meetings similar to what Revival does now. So she holds regular networking meetings every other month in London, and she invited me to come and speak to them about loving themselves so that they can show up confidently in their business. So I went along, and it was an eye opener. I was like, okay. So and then from there, I hired her. So she was my first business coach, and she was the one that showed me the ropes and said, "Do you know that you can do this? You can run workshops." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Oh, you can have an online course. Oh, okay. So how do I do that?" So that is where the challenge of technology was for me, being able to understand that it's not just about showing up on social media. It's about having a strategy behind how you show up and the messages that you bring to the table. So one of the things that I really struggled with for so many years was putting out the right message, what to put there. Because I just come there and I just talk in my normal voice. So I didn't understand that there had to be a strategy behind your post.
Okay.
You
So
want to if you want to use it for business, you have to have a strategy behind the post. It's not just business as usual.
fantastic. And what you've done here as well, as I'm hearing, is you've busted another myth for me, because, not only have you shown us that being an IT professional doesn't make you a social media genius,
Mm-mm.
Also, what you've shown us is that actually you can turn what you love to do into a business. And it's okay if you don't know that what you do could be a business. You know, we hear so many coaches say to us that, you know, if you work doing what you love, what your passion is, you're never going to work a day in your life. So it strikes me that you had a business coach that sort of drew that out of you to enable you to do the work you love to do and help people. And what I've also picked up from there, and from reading your story as well, is that there are multiple genres and multiple niches. And am I right in recalling that this coach also sort of said to you, you know, about a specific niche you needed to work with?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So going back to my first coach, and what she did for me was she helped me to see the potential of what I could do with what I had. So she was like, so many women need what you have. And she also, was an example that she was a businesswoman. And there were areas in which, even though she knew what she was doing, but in some areas, confidence was lacking. And she showed that I could, she showed me the type of women, it's almost like trying to help me to identify my ideal client at the time. So 3 years into that, so obviously following on from that, I came out of working with her for I think 6 months. I came out with an action plan, so that was quite good for me. So I got introduction to, the IT thing, like the email marketing, how to set up an online course and all of that, like the basics, having a domain name, having a logo, things as simple as that. For me now, they sound really simple, but there are other people in that boat now where they're about to start out, but they don't have a clue. So she gave me the clue that I needed to start out. So 3 years down the line, so I started doing that. And one of the things that took off for me was the confidence workshop. So I started running confidence workshops in London. So I would just, hire a venue, and I would, set up my own promotional things, and I started marketing, and people would pay me and come into the workshop. It usually was a whole day workshop on a Saturday, and lunch was provided. And I enjoyed that. That was me in my zone of genius. That is, I love the interaction. I love the fact that we could see each other, we could talk, we could touch, and all of those things. So if further years down the line, I was now beginning to think that, okay, this is the only thing that I'm really doing at the moment, which was the confidence workshops. And I wanted to do more. So I wanted to be able to do more with people, So I stumbled on another lady on Facebook who was also a business coach. And I just listening to her video, I just thought, you know what, she has what I want, which is how to scale this and take it to another level. Because at that time, it was just the confidence workshop that I was running, and then I'll put posts out on Facebook. There was really no strategy yet, I would say. So I started, so from I think the first coaching call with the new business coach, she said to me, tell me your story. So she introduced me to the power of storytelling. So I didn't know nothing about storytelling. I just come on there and just blab and just say this, say that, say this, say that. It didn't mean nothing. So she said to me, Andrea, tell me your story. So she was the first person that said to me, why are you doing what you do? Nobody had ever asked me that. So she said, why are you doing what you do? And then it occurred to me that, you know what? The reason why I'm doing what I do now is because I was that woman who did not love herself. I was that woman who did not have confidence. I was that woman who, because my dad was not in my life, I felt like any man that wanted me, they were the price. I didn't realize that I was the price. So until I started loving myself, until I learned the act of loving myself, giving to myself, making myself a priority, my confidence then went to a whole new level. And then at that time, it was as though the scales fell off my eyes when it came to relationships, because all of a sudden I realized, you know what? I'm an asset. I don't have to put up with you. I don't have to put up with anybody. I am just enough. And if I
Fantastic.
don't, and if I didn't have a man, I was okay. I was happy living my life. I had, my IT job then, which was paying hell of a lot of money, and I was
Mhm.
loving life. So at that point in my life, so that was the story, but I didn't realize that was the story, and that was the motivation for wanting to do what I wanted to do. So when I hired her, she straight away said to me, "Tell me your story." And as soon as I shared that, she said, "Andrea, this is the story. You went from chasing and you stopped chasing. You stop chasing so that you can be chased." And that was it. That was it. The minute
Wow.
I got to that point in my life where I knew that I am an asset, I am a queen, I can have any man that I want, then I stopped chasing.
That's incredible. And of course, you now use that, don't you, to inform your practice.
Yeah.
And what type of women do you work with now?
I work with single women, mostly professional and career women. They have everything going on for them. Yeah, they have a career, they have the money, have the friends who they can hang out with, they can travel at the drop of a hat, they can do whatever they want. But there's a missing piece of the puzzle, and that is the relationship bit. So the missing bit of the puzzle is the relationship bit, where they are not sure, you know, how to navigate that bit of their life. So they've got everything else going for them, but that bit is missing. And they do feel that bit sometimes, not every time. So those are the women. And in their past, they're used to doing all the chasing, wanting to be accepted, you know, overgiven in relationship. And then, so those are the type of women that I work with. So I help them to see that, you know what, you are the prize. Let the man do the chasing. Let him do the talking. Let him come up if he needs to come up to that level. You don't need to bring yourself to that
Mhm.
level. But if he needs to come up to that level, so be it. So those are the kind of women in terms of single women. And then I realized also as time went on that I attracted married women, because also I have been married now. It's going to be 18 years in November. It hasn't been
Congratulations.
thank you. It hasn't been a bed of roses. I have learned a few things along the way. And one of the things that has really helped me is knowing that in this relationship, I am an individual. And I think in the initial days of our marriage, I didn't realize that. And I really struggled. And I will pull on my husband, and I would, press on him. Oh, let's do this together. Let's do that together. Because I didn't have a lot of the things that I wanted to do in place.
Okay.
So,
So
yeah,
you're working then with women who are slightly further behind you on the path that you've walked. That's
yeah,
fantastic. And I
yeah,
mean, I'm hearing about all of these fantastic coaches you've worked with, the incredible work you're doing. But in the book, there was still something you were still afraid of, weren't you? There was still a fear.
yeah.
Talk to me about what that fear was.
That was it. This was about 3 years ago. Despite the fact that I love social media, there was a fear of showing up in my business because of, I think the fear was the fear of being hugely successful, because
Mhm.
culturally where I come from in Africa, the man has the money,
Yeah.
the man pays the bills, the man does most of the things. And not that the women sit at home, but the man is the end all and being all, in most of in most homes in Africa. So for me, I wanted this to be I want this to be really big. I want to be hugely successful, but I was afraid of what family people on social media would say. I was actually afraid of that. I was afraid of being hugely successful. So because of that, I was hiding. So I wasn't showing up in my business like I wanted to show up. like I wanted to do stuff. So I will come out, I'll come back in, I'll come out a bit, I'll go back in. But 3 years ago, I just decided, you know what? All these people that I am afraid of, they're not important. Whether my mom is on there, my dad is on there, my step siblings are on there, I couldn't care less. I decided, you know what? The women that I have been called to do, they are more important. The work that I've been called to do is bigger than my fear. And that was what changed everything for me. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to start showing up in my business like I want to show up in my business. Whatever my soul is calling for in my business, I'm showing up as that. And when I make the big money as well, I'm going to make a noise about it. That's it.
That's fantastic. And that's a really good message to share with all sort of aspiring business owners or people who have just started in business, is that, I'm here, make your why, make your reason for being in business so much bigger than your fears, because that has to help you, that why has to help you to overcome your fears, doesn't it? And when you stop worrying about what other people think, then you can do your best work and help more people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So that aside, Andrea, what bits of advice would you share with people starting in business right now based on your journey so far?
Well, I would say for people who are starting out in business, if you know what you want to do, then you need to find somebody who is doing what you want to do. So if you know what you want to do, then go out, look for somebody who is already doing it, and hire them. Pay them to show you the ropes. So that you don't go it alone. So you pay them to show you the ropes, because what happens for you there is you cut the chase and you redeem the time, and then you can be on your journey quicker. So that is number one thing. That's the number one thing. That is number one thing. So that is what I say to people. So start, look for somebody who's doing what you do, and pay them to coach you. Yeah, because you would step up very quickly if you do that.
Fantastic. So that's asking for help then.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. There's no shame in this game. You can't, if you don't know, you don't know, and you have to find people who know, and just, allow them to help you, and also say yes to opportunity, because sometimes we're also afraid, because I have been there before too, when people say to me, oh, would you like to do this? And I'm like, I'm not sure. But these days I'm like, okay, I say yes. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. At least I've tried it.
Okay. And I'm presuming then that you said yes to opportunity when the opportunity came up to writing for this book.
Yes.
Tell me how that arose. And you've got it there. Fantastic. How did that opportunity come about?
That was, it's funny, because before I came on this interview just now, I sat down in my living room, and I was just thinking, in the last 1 year, I have been part of 2 books. I published 2 books.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, what if I didn't say yes to this? So what happened was this time last year, actually, I had just launched my very first book that I co-authored, titled Awake. And I was in the process of marketing and promoting it. So one of the things that I really wanted to do was get opportunities to speak at, women's events, because, it was a collection of stories for women who woke up to a time in their lives when they decided, you know what, I've had enough, and I'm going to take my life back. And that was what the book was about. So as I was online, I stumbled on Sharon Brown. She posted a request looking for speakers. And I was like, oh, where did it? I never met her. She wasn't on my friend list. So I decided to put on there, okay, yes, I'm interested in being a speaker at one of your events. And that was it. So we exchanged messages in the inbox. And she said, oh, Andrea, you can check us out, Revival, Sanctuary, blah, blah. Never heard of them. It was June. Yeah, it was about this time last year. So that was it. So I looked into it, and I'm thinking, when I saw the ethos, collaboration over competition, I'm like, oh, this is so much what the sort of things that I'm looking for. I want to, work with women, be surrounded with them, helping each other to grow and, to expand. So, and that was it. So I she accepted for me to speak at one of the events, and then that was it. A month later, I joined Revival. And I didn't even tell her that I had joined. She just emailed me to say, "Did you just join?" I said, "Yes, I've joined." I said, I knew I was going to join from the day I spoke with you. But I had all the promotion going on for my book because I had radio interviews that I wanted to, go to and stuff like that. And this is how I became a member of Revival. And then in January this year, she said, "Oh, I'm putting this book together. And, if you would like to be a co-author, jump for it." And even at that, I thought, "Oh God, I've just written one. I don't have the time to do it." And then she said to me, "Andrea, I know you can do this." I mean, I really thank God for Sharon because she knows how to push and to encourage you sometimes. And yeah, and then she came along and said, "Andrea, I think you should." And then that was it. So in January, I think it was in February, I sat down one morning and I decided, you know what, I'm going to write this. And that was it. And that was how I became an author for the second time.
Fantastic. And that's really, you are absolutely practicing what you preach in every aspect of what you're doing, in terms of your coaching, in terms of the business advice you've just given. That's incredible. Andrea, I'd like to thank you so much for joining me and being interviewed this morning. It's been really, really great to chat to you. And for anybody who's watching this and wants to get hold of this book, if you go to either Amazon or look at revivalsanctuary.co.uk, then you will find the details there. I'm sure the details will be below this video as well, so you can click on the links there. Over the course of the next few weeks, I'm going to be interviewing a number of the authors from this, so you'll be able to not just read the book, but listen to the interview with the authors of your favorite story or all of your stories. So please join me at the next one. It's been an absolute honor and a privilege to speak to Andrea Onadeko of Flourish in Love. I'm Deb Morgan of Not a Rehearsal, and these are the interview series for Revival, Women Embracing Their Superpowers. Thank you so much.
Thank